Mr. President, for years, one more time, Congress has refused to make a definitive, permanent decision. It has failed to make Schedule I classification of fentanyl-related substances permanent. Law enforcement needs permanence. It needs a definitive change to combat the opioid crisis and to go after the criminals flooding communities with deadly drugs. Congress's inaction only emboldens China, drug cartels, and other criminals who exploit our communities, and that should not happen. We need a lasting solution. Mr. President, there is no reason to do any temporary extension. We have the bipartisan votes to make the Schedule I classification permanent. This Thursday, the Senate Judiciary Committee, with the support of Judiciary Chairman Grassley and Senator Heinrich, is marking up the Halt Lethal Trafficking Fentanyl Act, or the HALT Fentanyl Act. This legislation permanently classifies fentanyl-related substances as Schedule I controlled substances. Let's be clear, the HALT Fentanyl Act is not controversial. For 2 consecutive Congresses, it passed the House of Representatives with strong bipartisan support. There are enough votes to pass HALT in the Judiciary Committee and on the Senate floor this Congress. My Democratic colleagues' legislation delays that permanency. Schedule I classification will once more be in jeopardy when the next deadline comes around. Law enforcement cannot continue to have this uncertainty. That is why, after my objection, I will ask unanimous consent to pass the HALT Fentanyl Act. This legislation has already passed the House of Representatives and has bipartisan support in the Senate. I hope all my Democratic colleagues will join in supporting the bill. We have a responsibility to provide law enforcement the tools they need to address the scourge of deadly drugs in our communities. Failure to act puts Americans in harm's way. For those reasons, I object.
Objection is heard.
Mr. President.
Senator from Louisiana.
Because of my objection, I ask unanimous consent to pass the HALT Fentanyl Act to permanently classify fentanyl-related substances as Schedule I controlled substances. The bill also removes barriers that impede the ability of researchers to conduct studies on these substances. The HALT Fentanyl Act already passed the House of Representatives with overwhelming bipartisan support. It has support from Democrat and Republican senators now. This is the bill the Senate should be voting on today, not just a temporary extension that creates greater uncertainty in our effort to address the opioid crisis, but again, one which establishes permanence, something which gives certainty to law enforcement to combat this, as I said earlier, scourge of illegal fentanyl. I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on the Judiciary be discharged from further consideration of H.R. 27 and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration. I further ask that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there an objection?